looking at your group, how they performed in your eyes in camp, and what are you looking for in terms of improvements?
Camp's been good. We talked a little bit about in the spring, a little bit about just getting guys back that have experience. And so we played a lot of freshmen last year, and that's paying dividends for us right now. A lot of guys that know what they're doing, bigger and stronger, just from the last time. And so it's been a good camp. I feel like we've got a solid group of guys that can contribute and help us win.
It seems like they've embraced the desire to improve over last year in terms of rushing the passer and just overall performance. I'm wondering, how you've seen them embrace that.
Yeah, it's been good. I don't think there was ever a lack of want to, but it's just when you're young and underdeveloped and still wet behind the ears, it's just kind of what it is. And so they've done a good job with just number one in the off season. That's been huge. Just getting bigger and stronger, understanding the scheme a lot better. And this spring was really good for us as far as just the strides they've made. But they picked up where we left off in the spring, just continued to come along, and so it's been good that way.
We have seen the D-line quite often fall camp winning at the line of scrimmage. When you see them consistently winning those battles, how much confidence does it give you, especially when the weeks continue to progress closer to the season?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're ever really satisfied, right? Like as a player, as a coach, I mean, there's always, we see flashes of things that we want. They're doing it the way that we want, and then there's just some days the offense, is getting the upper hand on you, which has been good for us because it's been a good fall camp that way, where the offense is doing a really good job. But we're seeing a lot of the things that we want to see out of the D-line. It's been a little bit more consistent, but we need more, and we need more consistency. We need more out of everybody. We just have to have a good group. Last year was an example of just losing so many bodies and getting thin, and now we feel like we've got a pretty good depth that we can go in, and if we stay healthy, we'll have a chance to be pretty good.
You talked about some guys getting some experience. Could you talk about like Thomas and maybe Tavita and like what the improvement they've made from a year ago when maybe they were put in situations that they weren't quite ready for?
Yeah, it's both of them love the weight room. They've done a really good job of getting bigger and stronger, but just it's hard to replicate those kind of snaps, right? Those guys both had over 300 plus snaps last year, and being young, the pace of the game, just those kinds of things. It's just hard to replicate that, right? Like you can't fake experience, and those guys have a lot of experience now, and so. JoJo's the other one. JoJo got a lot of snaps last year as a young kid, and Juju, Jacob Schuster for us played a lot. So those guys took the lion's share of all just the reps from last year. We only lost Semisi Saluni from last year, and so those guys all come back, and it's been good to see kind of just the football IQ raised and a little bit more awareness. A lot more communication. Just another year in the system. And it's been good.
Have you noticed any differences in the physicality or kind of like violence at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage from last year to this year?
Yeah, sometimes just when you don't know what you're doing, it doesn't matter how big and strong you are. It's just you're a little timid in the way that you're playing. And I think there was a little bit of that, but also just the strides that they've made. I mean, especially like somebody like JoJo, the strides that he's made in the weight room is unbelievable. Thomas Collins is not the biggest in the room, but might be the strongest. Juju's also strong, but Tevita Bomez done a really good job with that. So there's just, I think the buy-in in the weight room, just continuing to get bigger. So Vita actually shrunk, which is what we wanted him to do, and so he's moving a lot better, a lot more athletically, where he was played at 330 last year. Now he's, hover around anywhere between 308 to 312. He's moving better, right? He understands the game a little bit better. And then Thomas Collins last year, he had an injury that kept him out for a week and a half or two. I mean, he came back after that injury. It was like barely 260, you know what I mean? And so now he's playing at the low 280s. And so it's just, you got guys that kind of, their weights are where they need to be, but also it's just the experience and the strength is really showing up, like you're talking about, and just, the violence and knockback and the physicality that you want to see out of a D-line.
With Trent taking over as DC, what change does that make for you? How has that affected your group?
It's been really good for us. When you have a D coordinator that knows what he wants up front, and it's been good for me to really learn from him that way, and just, okay, there are so many different ways to do it. You know, they all work sort of, just depending on how the backers play. I mean, there's just so many different, you know, I've been in different systems and studied under different D-line guys, and just the system and the way that we play the backers off of how he wants the D-line to play is really in sync, you know, and that's probably one of the things that's just been probably a big advantage for me as a coach, but also for the defense in general, is just the syncing up with just how we play with the backers and the D-line up front.
What have you seen from Tuiaki? Obviously, transfers from LSU, redshirts last season, doesn't get to play much. How have you seen his growth and development ending into this ball?
Yeah, he's done real well. I mean, one of the things that we talked about in the offseason was kind of gaining the love back for the game, you know, just kind of going back to just backyard ball and wanting to play again. So his love for the game has really shown up, and how he's been off the field and just kind of you know, adjusting his body, the weight. He's made gains too in the weight room. That's another guy. And I like to lift with those guys in the off season, so I kind of see it like for those, like, oh shoot, I used to be able to lift with JoJo. Now it's like, okay, I can't go to that rack anymore. Let me find somebody else I can pick on, you know. And so it's the same with Tuiaki. I used to be able to lift with Tuiaki. I can't lift with Tuiaki anymore. I got to move and find a younger cat to try to push. And so yeah, you know, Tuiaki's come a long way. The year off, sometimes when you're not playing, it's just like you miss the game, and you really want to come back for the right reason.
So is Tuiaki then available to start the season? What does that look like for him at this point?
You know, that's probably a break question. It's probably a break question, but you know, we're just working through it. He's been practicing, and he's rotating with the ones, twos. I mean, I really try to rotate those guys and keep them healthy right now. We've got Vita and TC that are really running with the ones. They're the first group that rolls out, but feel comfortable rolling really into the threes right now, because you've got Juju and JoJo that are also ready to roll, and then you've also got Taiji and Taj that are ready to roll, and so it's good groups to have.
What's the next step for this group?
Production, I think. You know, it's been a lot of talk. We know how last season went. You know, you can't really you know, talk about, oh, we were young and this. It's just, now it's like we need to start producing. We need to start seeing some you know, just some production on the field, and that'll make it feel better.
What is production in your eyes? Like what?
You know, I think when we're playing the style of defense that Coach Bray wants, we're gonna you know, we're gonna get tackles, we're gonna get TFLs, we're gonna push for sacks, and obviously that has a big thing to do with the edges too. But production is one, but also just you're gonna see a D-line that's just in the backfield, and that's the thing that we've really been pushing this year.
How was adding Coach Tuiaki and Coach Marshall as the edges coach really helped the unit as a whole? Oh yeah, for sure. Like having somebody like Coach Tuiaki that's got all that experience, and you know, Coach Marshall in for another year together has been huge. I mean, it's such a different skill set between the guys that are in my room, the guys that are in his room, and even the guys in those rooms. They've got two different skill sets that they're asking in one play, and so having the expertise of Coach Tuiaki with all the places that he's been to be able to talk through things, and for us to just kind of get up on the board and talk and bring it under the umbrella of what the head coach wants has been good. You talked about TC coming back from that injury, you know, down some weight. Injuries obviously arise in the trenches, just a part of football. What are the things that you guys as a staff have changed from last year to, you know, when those occur, to make sure they're coming back at the right weight and, you know, ready to play, so you don't end up as thin as you were last year?
You know, it's this sport is it's a car accident every play. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of tough to just. That's why we only play one game a week, and I mean, you cross your fingers and just hope that luck's on your side as far as just staying healthy, but also the prehab and the rehab, and then also just them getting bigger and stronger in the weight room really helps us up front. Just stay a little bit healthier, and a little, you know, sometimes just availability is the best thing that some of these guys can bring, and so it's just they understand that taking care of their bodies when we're not practicing is really important. But you know, that's, I think our strength staff and our training staff do a good job with that.
What have you seen from Shamar and Blue?
That is a Coach Marshall question.
Sure.
But yeah, I think, you know, Shamar is another one of those young pups that took a lot of reps last year.
you're seeing flashes of just really, really dangerous edge player because he's got all those, so many reps under his belt. He might be one of the most dangerous pass rushers on the team when it just comes to that skill. But that's probably a Coach Marshall question.
You guys usually are running 2 interior defensive linemen. Sometimes you run 3 out. How does that change what you're looking for? When you do that, are you looking for a true nose tackle, nose guard sort of type, and who's the best one suited to do that? Or is that something you don't do very often?
It's really best available according to what we're trying to do. Because the injuries last year, what it made us realize, and I've kind of experienced it in the past too in my career is, you're playing one guy as a 3 technique, you're playing the other guy as a 1 technique. Then all of a sudden, all the guys that are playing 3 technique and taking those reps are gone. It's like, okay, I'm stuck with all these guys that have just been playing 1 technique. Well, I've got to dual train them. It's that you've got to dual train those guys, and so if Thomas Collins and David are in the game together, David, that's the obvious guy that's kind of like, okay, you're over the ball, you're the nose, right? But if all of a sudden he's out and JoJo's in, and it's like, okay, who's going to be the nose in this situation? Okay, well, JoJo, you go to nose, you're a little bit bigger now. If you got Vita and Juju in the game, right, and Juju's 330-something right now, and they both kind of intertwine between playing the 4-eye now and the nose and 3, and so we got to dual train them so that we're ready for injuries and just all that stuff, but it also just helps them to be sharp and understand the picture of the defense in general, and so.
Thanks.